Welcome to The Downside.
Wow.
My name is Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my co-host Russell Daniels.
Hello.
Hey, you good?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
You don't like it when I do this up top, but we do have to start doing this up top.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you for being listening. We're growing. Just so you know, numbers are going up. No advertiser yet. Manscaped reached out. Then we contacted them
And
back.
then they didn't
And
follow
then
up?
they disappeared.
Did they ask for any specifics like numbers or?
I think I looped them in with my agent, and I think some of them are like, oh no.
Okay. They were like,
No, we were hoping to rip you off.
Yeah.
We were hoping to give you 10 cents.
I was looking forward.
I would
to
have done it
this.
for free Manscaped products.
Oh, yeah.
To be clear, I would
Yeah.
shave myself on the thing.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to The Downside. If you've never heard us before, this is a show we explore negativity. We find silver linings and we debunk them. We turn over the rock that looks nice, and underneath there's worms and death and the universe dying. If you enjoy, this is coming out August 2nd. If you enjoy this, we have our second ever live podcast, August 14th at Sesh Comedy Club. Link in the bio. Usama Siddiqui is the guest, former guest. Fantastic. He could cancel on us.
He won't though.
I accidentally booked him for the wrong date. This is true. I'm going to tell him in person. I booked him for the wrong date. He texted me that day. He's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I got to drop out last minute. And I was like, what is he talking about? And I looked, and I had misbooked him.
Oh, okay.
But he was dropping out with 30 minutes notice. Oh. So I really took him to task. I was like, Usama, you're really putting me in a tough position right now. Okay, so come to that. Show notes, link. We are here with comedian Jon Laster.
Woo!
How are you doing?
What's
App
happening?
startup founder. John, can you tell something negative to kick off our music here?
Something negative.
Something you don't like, something that's bothering you right now.
People who code are criminals.
This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
Well, we'll get to you in a second, John.
Wait.
I'm very happy to have you here.
I want to get into the coding. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the whole episode, Russell.
Okay.
Do you know how the show works?
Okay.
We talk about our own shit, then we get to his shit.
Okay. I just don't want to forget.
You thought I was not going to come back to that? We were gonna leave that behind?
I don't know. I don't know what your little pad says. So okay.
I've had a day already.
Why?
So I have this mark on my face, and I was worried. And
You finally noticed. No, I'm just kidding.
So and my girlfriend, she says she's not a hypochondriac, but we're both hypochondriacs. So I'm worried it's something serious, and she's like, I think you're being over optimistic. It could be cancer.
Yeah.
So she's like, it's cancer. I'm putting on ointments. I'm going to a dermatologist. It ends up.
Wait a minute. It came out of nowhere.
How long?
Well, I was at the beach. I got pretty burnt. For like a week. And basically, the dermatologist ultimately, I can see you looking like you're scared. You're scared for yourself. That's what's so sad.
I'm just trying to see.
You don't care about me.
No. I'm listening. No, I care about you. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, basically, it was something with, she was like, have you been in the hot sun and do you eat limes? And I was like, check on both those things.
Limes?
I get seltzers and I take the lime and I squeeze it, and it's like lime juice mixed with the heat. It will go away on its own eventually.
You know what I think? Because I've had.
Yeah, I need a second
scratches
opinion
like
for
that.
this.
I've had. I know, right? I'm gonna play doctor now. I bet you, when you're stressing, when you sleep, sometimes could be that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do stress.
And it's right in the line of a
Face.
scratch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If it was like this or something, then that's different. But it's right here.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I
sure.
bet you it's you at night, doing one of those.
Oh, well,
Does it feel like anything? Does it itch or no?
No,
It just-
nothing like
It's
that.
a scratch, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm good.
They didn't say anything. What?
They said they gave something at CVS I can go get, and it'll
okay.
speed it up a little.
Speed it up.
But I'm going to this appointment, and I need to get this done because I'm a TV opportunities could come at any second, and I order an Uber or a Lyft, and the Lyft is coming down Clinton Street, and it stops at the end of the block. So I thought, oh, okay, fuck, I'll go down there. My Lyft's getting pulled over. Had been pulled over by the cops. Oh. So I'm walking up to my Lyft, and the cops are talking to him. I'm like, fuck, dude, fuck. It was tight. I didn't leave with time.
Yeah. No.
And I guess what happens, this guy, the cop's talking to him, something about his seatbelt was off at the stoplight. And I say to the cop, oh, should I not go? And he's like, no, well, this will only take a second. The cop goes to his car. I get in. The guy has this big bottle next to him filled in the middle partition, and he's like, man, I took a piss at the stoplight, and I had to take off my seatbelt to take a piss, and suddenly he's like, as he's picking up the drink, and it's like, oh fuck,
So
that's
he
a
just
big
has
bottle
bottle
of piss
Yeah.
right there. And now I'm not just listen, they're working.
Yeah.
They're working. There's not public bathrooms in New York, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing of piss, and it's
Yeah.
right to the brim. So I'm like, either he perfectly timed it or
Yeah.
there's spillage. And so he's flipping out because he's like, he's waiting for a ticket, and he like opens the door, pours the piss out to the side,
Yeah.
puts it in his glove
Oh,
compartment.
my
And I'm just
God.
sitting there like, all right, I get it. Listen, we're living in tough times. And he's pissed about this cop. And then I'm just sitting in the car, and the cop's taking a very long time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, do I order a new lift? Do I leave and get a cab? If I cancel the lift, will I get the $5 fee or whatever? And this is my white privilege. I go over to the cop car, and I'm like, hey, officer, are we almost done here? Like I was trying to speed the officer along.
That's some white boy shit
Like,
right there.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
just...
That's some white boy shit right there.
Did it speed it along?
I said, like, should I...
What were they
should I-
doing? Were they giving a ticket, or I
They
don't
were giving a
understand why
ticket,
would
but they
take-
took his license. They got to run his license to see if there's points on it, if there's a warrant, whatever. So and the officer's like, it's almost done. And I go back in the car, and we're both mad at the cops for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
with this driver, and he's complaining about the ticket. I'm like, these fucking pigs, hurry the fuck up. And then finally they came over and
Did he jump
gave him
out
a
the
ticket.
piss?
He dumped it out to the side of the road. Thank God he wasn't right in front of my apartment. I would have been like, dude, right in front?
Just in case he had to refill
Oh
it.
man.
That was some white dude shit for you not to know how long it takes cops to write
Yeah,
a ticket.
Sure. I'm like, officer, what is going on? This shit.
The fact that they told you it was only going to take a minute is some very naive white boy shit to begin with.
Yeah.
Because even when they stop you for bullshit, you're going to be there for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
At least.
I guess I never thought about the Uber drivers having to pee. Like,
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
a guarantee.
They're human beings. I don't know if you know they
you
have
know-
families and children. And
It is hard in New York to find somewhere to pee a lot of times, and so I just, of course, that would be the solution, just to pee in a cup.
I've had.
No, that's a lot. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're
Where you
not-
going to go? Where you going to go? New York
mean,
is tough sometimes.
Dude, there's a million little bar restaurants you could run in and use the bathroom real quick. I'm willing to bet you he's a rare dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times have we jumped in an Uber and
Sure.
saw a goddamn jug of
Well,
piss?
wait, have I told you the one time I had to carry around my piss for 24 hours? I was having a medical thing, and they were like, they gave me a big jar, and they were like,
How big?
It was
You held it like
okay.
a
Well,
jug,
this is
like a
part of the
moonshine
the
jug.
story is that it was a very large jar, and I thought by the indication of how big it was, I should be filling this up like as much as possible. So, and I didn't want to so I was drinking so much water to
Yeah.
try and do it, but I had to go to work, and I had to keep in my backpack, and then had to take around for 24 hours this huge jug of piss. And then when I turned it in, they were like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of piss. Because I didn't know. I thought it was a
you
suggestion.
thought you had to keep pissing.
I thought it was you should be able to fill this,
Right.
you know? And they were like, usually people come in with a quarter of that. They're like, is everything okay? I was like, well, I was drinking so much water to try and do this. They're like, it wasn't about the level, the amount of it. It was just a sample of whatever came out of it.
There was no indication. There was no lines on a laundry
It
cup.
was basically looked like water because
this
I was
is all
drinking so
we
much
need.
water.
This is weird.
Well, it just said fill here. It did say there was a top line. So I thought that
you
that
took it
meant,
as a challenge.
I took it as this is the recommended. This is how much people piss in
You
24
was
hours.
like, oh,
and
I'll hit that line.
also when I did it, I didn't know where to drop it off, so I came into the front desk and I pulled it out, and the receptionist was like, "What? No, that's for the lab." And I was like, "Oh, right," but I'm just here to drop it off. Anyways. It was fine, but it was not ideal to carry around a jug of piss for 24 hours. It gets you, anytime I was on the subway, anytime I was, at work, just with my
Sure.
backpack of piss, it was so many things could go wrong to make my day really bad.
Well, that's why I'm suspicious now how many Uber drivers do this, and normally they're just not pulled over. They get a chance to pour it out on the side of the road. Maybe a lot of them are doing this.
Bro, I'm telling you, definitely not. Definitely not. I'm telling you.
Do
And
a poll.
I bet you if you ask that guy, he probably, one, hasn't been here that long, and two, probably lives a long way away from the city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I bet you it's both of those things. Because I know a lot of people that drive Uber, and I've never heard, oh, yeah, my fucking tranche of piss.
Yeah.
You know
And it's
what I
not
mean?
gonna. It was a clear soba bottle.
Yeah.
It was a soba tea bottle.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it was to the brim. It was frothing right over the brim.
That's so disgusting.
Yuck.
You had a thing you were.
Oh yeah. So you know how you get if I don't respond to you, you
Very upset.
Are
Are you a good texter backer?
No.
No, see.
Okay, good.
So I relate. I'm not great about it a lot of times. I always do it, but it sometimes takes a while. And Gianmarco gets upset by it. Anyways, but I had this other person today who I'm not nearly as close with as I am with you.
You don't have a podcast with him?
No. He so anyways, this is an acquaintance who I have known for a long time, but not like we were never close. We're not good friends. But he was trying to organize, we're friends. But not like I'm
You've
saying things
defined
like
it
in
enough.
case he is listening.
No,
he's not
he's
listening.
not
He's not listening. But the other day, someone who I, in my wildest imaginations, would never imagine listening, mentioned me mentioning something about them on this thing, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta be a little more careful than I think.
Oh my God.
Anyways, he's trying to organize like a couples dinner thing with me and an actual very good friend of mine and him. So 6 people. And so he's just sending it to the 3 of us that are kind of leading this text chain.
Yeah.
And he organizes it for Wednesday and then has to cancel it. And then like a few hours later is like, hey, had to cancel Wednesday's dinner, but if anyone wants to get drinks still Wednesday, like I'd be down for that. So me and the other person, neither of us, this happened yesterday, neither of us responded. Happened yesterday afternoon. He then sends this message this morning that says,
So excited.
it says, I love you guys, but when you don't respond to texts, it's confusing. Have a good summer.
Can you send that to me so I can use that in the future? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Part of me is like, wow. He really went there. But another part of me is like, thank you for understanding. Have a good summer, dude.
You just did a thumbs up to it.
No, I said, I'll be more conscious about not responding. But there is a thing where it's like, I don't know. It give me a minute. Do you know what I mean? Like it hadn't been 24
Were you
hours
going to
yet.
respond?
Yes, at some point. I definitely was not going to go for drinks on Wednesday. I will say. So my silence was, I'm not going to do that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You get it because you get very angry when people don't respond.
Yeah,
But you
I'm more
usually- I like
direct.
your
I don't say
tact.
I'm confused. I say I know what's happening here.
You say
you don't love me.
And you don't say, have a good summer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm like, have a
John
shitty
Marco,
summer.
John
I
Marco,
hope you're as lonely
John
as
Marco
I
texted
am.
me once, you suck balls.
Yes.
Like so
But
angry.
you know what, though?
So angry
I
and hateful.
appreciate the suck balls.
Yeah.
Don't hit me with that have a good summer
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That is so
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, bro.
I mean, if he's listening, I will figure out a time for dinner sometime. But
But he's not wrong. But he's
No.
not wrong. You don't love him.
no, I don't love him.
And that's what he learned.
But that passive aggressive shit, man, stop.
Yeah.
Let's stop that.
Yeah.
Let's put an end to that once and for all. Stop with that path.
Well,
that
and it's
fucking
also
have a
like
good
I had
summer.
agreed to the dinner, and like then you canceled it. Like you canceled the dinner.
When
you
you
know?
cancel,
You canceled the dinner, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, off the hook. Don't have to do Wednesday now.
Right.
And then you're hitting me with a drinks. Like it's just a lot of requests for someone I don't hang out with a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of like,
And not to mention, do I have to respond to every fucking thing that you shoot my way?
yeah,
Because some people, when you do respond, that's an invitation for them to send some more shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
It really is. And some people will just keep sending shit. Like, have you ever responded to someone in your DMs who said something random like, oh my God, that was funny?
Yeah.
Right? And then
Russ has never had that happen to him. But I understand
No,
it
no.
deeply.
yes, you respond, and then they'll respond. It's like,
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
wild. The stuff people send me. I'm like, I'm not reading this shit. Iceland the other day.
What did they
a
send?
lot.
What did they
I
send?
hope this isn't mean. So
It is definitely mean because they're definitely listening to this if they're like
there was a comedian, and this is not me speaking ill of him, but it's just a young comic.
Yes.
Wrote me, hey, I saw you're performing at XYZ Club. I'm like, yeah, I'm there tonight. He's like, cool, I'm gonna swing by. So happens a week ago. Show up, this guy comes up to me. I don't quite remember who he is, and he's like, thanks so much for inviting me to the show today. And I was like, I text my girlfriend. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Am I showing this guy around now? I don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I find the message, and all I told him was, I'm performing at this place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I have like a younger comic, and I feel this like
You're a mentor.
I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm not.
So sometimes a response is an invitation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, it's not. I don't think we got to respond to every single one. Now, if somebody hits me and you look and there's a chain of them trying to reach out, then sometimes I feel bad. Like, God damn, I could have responded to
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I had that happen. And this guy hit me the other day and he said, hey, man, I'm having doing this bar show and it's his birthday and some other holiday, some other special, you know what I mean?
It's my birthday, my mom's anniversary of her death.
Yeah.
And he does say that, I'm going to have family there, this, that, the other. And he says, man, kind of it would be my dream if you performed on, I'm a huge fan, whatever. But I looked, he's been hitting me for 2 years.
God damn.
Wow.
Yes. Felt bad. You got to respond.
Sure.
Then you got to respond. So if there's
Did you
if there's
perform
a
at the
line
show?
of- I did.
Wow.
Good show?
I canceled my gig. It was okay. But and it cost me a lot of money. Yeah. but 2 years of unresponded, I was like, dude, you got to do that.
Yeah.
You got to take the L. But I'm not going to respond to your hey, we're having dinner, you canceled. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving. But then I don't have to respond to your next. Well, why don't we, you know what? Why don't you figure that out?
Yeah.
And if I don't respond, that means I'm not coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why him saying I love you. I mean, that's intense.
No answer's
love
an
you.
answer.
I know.
Yeah, but have a nice summer. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I will.
Stop with
Won't
this.
be with you.
So John, so happy to have you.
So happy
We
to be
worked
here.
together at the Comedy Cellar. We knew each other before. We had a good train ride back from Cherry Hill.
Jersey, yeah.
Yeah.
Years ago.
And we were talking, and I was
Riley put us on that show. Yeah.
Now you grew up in Denver, because I'm going to Denver this week.
Denver, Colorado.
What's the now? I know Denver. People are excited about Denver. They were the first with like pot and stuff legalized. What's the shitty part of living in Denver?
You know what? It's not even the same place I grew up in.
Yeah.
Denver's very, very gentrified. Like it's I honestly don't recognize it. Where I grew up, they tore it down. Where I grew up, there was a time in the country that the worst neighborhoods in every city, they were like, they were, their solution was let's do away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Cabrini Green in Chicago, the projects that were in the Wire in Baltimore.
Yep.
Where I grew up, it was called the Ville, but it was even the bad neighborhoods in Denver wouldn't come to the Ville. So they were like, we're gonna pretend that didn't
So
happen.
it was. Is it? Forgive me. Is it considered the projects
Yeah.
as well? And the projects
Yes.
means that it's what is this government subsidized housing?
Yes, where I grew up, yeah. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna act like that didn't happen. Yeah.
And they just bulldozed it down.
Yeah, they
Oh my
said
God.
that they said something like, "Oh, it's public domain." It's funny that they bulldozed it. They bulldozed the hospital. There was a huge hospital next to it. They tore the hospital down. They tore the elementary school down
Oh,
across the street. You never tear schools down. Here's the
Yeah.
crazy part, right? So that they tear it down. The white people move in 6 months, 9 months later. They build a new one.
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yes. So
They had
I
like
don't
a roof
even
this time or
right,
something.
Exactly.
They're like, we got to make the water fountains work this time.
Fucking solar panels on top of it. So I don't.
Is
I
it
mean, where I
weird to
grew up
have
is
like your
gone.
whole home gone?
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
So when people say Denver, like the Denver that I knew is literally gone.
Yeah.
You go around. You see that school? There used to be a school there.
Yeah.
There used to be a
now
worse
it's-
school
and now
right
it's the
there.
Field. So they built a new school in the field and tore the old one down.
Oh boy.
But like when I say it's unrecognizable. So it's I don't know. It's discombobulating a
when
little
did they
bit.
do that? After you were gone?
Yeah, like when I was leaving, they were like, "Oh, it's public domain. You guys got to basically find somewhere else to live." we're going to tear all this down. And they lied. What they said was they were building a light rail that was going to run through. The light rail's like blocks away.
Yeah.
So they were like, y'all got to get the fuck out of here.
God damn.
Yeah,
Was you had family there that had to move?
Yeah, but you know what? I was on my way kind of to New York. My brother was going to Atlanta. Like, we were kind of leaving anyway. You know what I mean? And my mom, there was no reason for my mom to be down there once we were out of the house. And I wouldn't have fucking let my mom. I mean, it was a lot of drive-bys. I mean, I didn't grow up in the Denver. When people say Denver, there's a song called Just Like Compton from DJ Quick. The last verse is Denver is just like Compton. But people didn't know that. Yeah. And that's why Denver was like, well, let's get that, let's do away with this. So I grew up in a very different place, but it's gone now. So
there were drive-bys. Did you ever see a drive-by? Yeah.
Of course.
Oh my God.
I've been shot at a lot of times.
They were aiming for you?
I've been shot at a lot of times.
Holy shit.
I've been in a lot of cars that had bullet holes in them.
Really?
Oh yeah. Wow. Absolutely.
Holy shit. What was the scariest one? Tell us about one. I've never been in a drive-by.
Man. I was the scariest one was because I'm so dumb that I didn't know what was going on. And I'm standing there and I'm shooting. I used to, in a former life, I was a basketball player. But little kids knew who I was. I was a big deal back then. So they would come over to the court during the day and, hey, aren't you Jon Laster? Can I play with you for a minute? So I would, all right, let's play. And then I got to get back to work. Okay, let's play the 3, and I play with the kids, whatever. But so that I could get the shots up I would shoot right before the sun came up or at night. So I'm shooting at night. I'm getting my shots up at night. And this car pulls up to the playground, right? Yeah. Turns the lights off. But I thought it was my boys. Oh. You know what I mean? Right. So me and my boy were out there. He used to rebound for me, my best friend. At night, he would rebound for me. So I'm getting the shots up. And this gun goes off, right? But again, I thought it was my boys. My boys used to be out there with guns all the time. Right? So I swear to God, it wasn't a big deal. So the second shot goes off, right? And a spark hits the pole.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's probably the fastest I've ever run in my life. But that night was probably because, like you hear a pow, ting, and then it was like, drop the ball and everything.
I think it's funny that the first shot, you were like, oh, Daniel. We're both shooting tonight. Yeah. And then you saw spark, you ran.
Oh, and then we're gone.
Now, what did they know you, or were they just like, whatever, we're going to just shoot them?
No, but you know what? The crazy thing was even in the midst of chaos, there's still rules. You know what I mean? One of the rules is you do not fuck with the hood athlete. Yeah. In any hood in America. Hood athlete, out of bounds. So
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. Wow.
Oh, your neighborhood will get shot up for a long time should something happen to you.
And what defines a hood athlete? Like someone who has the promise of maybe going pro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. If you're that dude at your school, or people think that you're going to get out, and they thought I was the next guy going to the NBA, so I had all of the accoutrements, the you know what I mean, not a scratch on me. Like if you could, first of all, if you hit me, I'd probably fuck you up. But even if you did hit me, good luck. And it's usually not worth it. Because if you're gonna hit somebody that all these motherfuckers are gonna come after you for, and you're never really safe at, it's just not worth it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So even when my boys was out there shooting, I never had to worry. And when my boys went and if they killed someone or you know what, let me not say that on this is recorded. But if something happened somewhere else, they would knock on the door. Hey, John, you need to stay off the court. Hey, why would you need to stay off the court? And then I would, I'd find a book to read or something. You know what I mean? I would find something else to do.
God damn.
Yeah, Jesus.
So I would just stay off the court. But I didn't get a warning. So I'm just out there like a dumbass.
Yeah. So what, was someone mad at you or was...
No, I don't. You know what? I didn't wait around to ask.
Excuse me. I'm the hood athlete. But have you not heard?
But it feels like...
Were you like missing a bunch of shots in a row and they were like, you know what? I don't think he is the hood athlete.
I bet that's not him.
No, he's fair game.
From the
He's
look,
fair game.
from the looks of this guy's form, he's probably not the dude.
Yeah.
I feel like that would really motivate someone to be good at sports. Just being like that's the only way to survive these streets.
Is get good at hoop. But yeah, man, and I remember that night was probably one of the worst. There's some others you're kind of running or you scatter in or whatever. But that night, maybe the first time I got shot, I was probably also pretty terrifying because I was younger then, and I didn't even know what was going on. I just thought these dudes was fighting, and then the sparks start flying. And
Were you just run one way? Were you zigzagging? I don't even know what I'd do. Hide behind a tree?
You know what? When something like that happens, you're moving so fast that it takes a while for you to even. You know what I mean? Like your body takes. That's not a planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a, hey, should I zig and zag or should I just make a... You're just gone.
Yeah.
You just get the fuck out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yo, they shooting at us. But
scary as shit, man.
Spark hit the pole and me and Kaz took off.
That's horrifying. Where did the sports go? How tall are you, first of all?
6'4".
6'4". Okay, so I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
I was not the... That wouldn't be hood athlete, but it would be. I wasn't the Potomac, Maryland athlete. I wasn't the small Christian private school athlete.
Yeah.
How far did you go with basketball?
Not far enough.
Did you go to? Were you on a college team?
Yeah, I played Minnesota, Colorado State, so I played D1, yeah.
And were you good in college?
I was on the bench. I was good, but I was on the bench. I had a tragic college career, man. Head assistant is the guy who you ever see. I explained it in a story I was telling at this storytelling show the other night. We've all seen these these nature shows.
Yeah.
Where a lion comes into a pride and kills all the cubs. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like that in basketball. The head assistant is the one who recruits all the players. They're the one out scouting, whatever. They are the ones who have the relationships, whatever. Then the head coach comes in and closes the deal. But then the head assistant runs the show.
Yeah.
So the head coach is coach, and the head assistant is like, hey, man, you should put so-and-so in. He could get this done. He could get that done. So the head assistant is kind of the shot caller behind the scenes. That's why they go on to get these head coaching jobs. So the likelihood of the head assistant leaving, you want the head assistant that recruited you to stay there because he believes in you.
Yeah, and he looks good if you succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if a new head assistant comes in and you were recruited by this last head assistant, good luck.
Because then they have their new guys that they're bringing in, and they want the new guys to look better
So
than
that
you.
they look good.
Yes.
Yeah.
The likelihood of a head assistant leaving a head coach it's minuscule. It's almost like getting hit by lightning. These guys stay together for decades most of the time.
Sure.
Unless you're a head assistant at Duke and then you go get a head job somewhere, someplace crazy, right? Those
Sure.
head assistants. But most of these guys stay together their whole careers.
Does most of the head assistant become the head coach? Is the head coach usually
Your
older?
your team would have to be unbelievably good for a long time for that head assistant to leave the head coach. And some head assistants don't ever want to be head coaches. This is their best friend.
Really?
Oh yeah. They're ride or die with this guy. They're making great money. Do you know what I mean? Without all the pressure of I might get fired if this doesn't go well.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of them breaking up, something close to nothing. It's almost the same as you getting hit by lightning. So right after I get to Minnesota, new head assistant comes in. Fuck. Never happens, but whatever.
And you're a freshman.
Freshman. Transfer back to Colorado State because the head assistant at Colorado State told me that'll never happen. Come back here. This way you can play. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about that. We know this never happens. So just as I'm about to start playing at Colorado State, the head assistant stands up, starts crying, looks right at me and said, I have to do the right thing by me and my family. My teammates start crying.
Oh, my God.
And I knew I was done because me and the head coach hated each other, which doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Long as the head assistant is there to buffer.
You hate each other. Why do you hate you so much?
I was arrogant as fuck. I was
Wait.
a nightmare.
So you show up. Is this the first practice?
First practice, I take the ball behind my back, split two defenders, and dunk the ball over my head. My teammates are going crazy, and the head coach was like, I don't give a fuck if you just came from the Lakers. Don't you ever do that again. So, of course, the next play, I come down, take the ball behind my back, split the defenders, bam, and he threw me out.
Oh my God!
Threw me out.
Why didn't he?
Wait, but what's
is that
wrong?
too
First
showy?
day.
Like you were doing
yeah,
it.
Yeah. yeah.
and then the next.
But he was from Utah. Like he hated that hood.
He was like very white.
He was from the factory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
strange to be like, I'm going to be a basketball coach, and I'm going to
Yeah.
like be like very
white.
conservative, very white.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go play fucking baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he loved the players that were from where he was. Our point guard was like from Indiana. Like he loved that like folksy.
So
That was his vision of Hoosiers. Was his vision of a wonderful basketball.
the way you're describing it, I think I've always thought about sports more than stand-up or art as more of a meritocracy, because I'm like, well, if you're good, and no one can deny you.
Well, you got to keep in mind that the coach that was when Giannis first got to the Bucks didn't like Giannis. He was down there at the end of the bench. Wasn't a huge fan. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
There was a guy that played for the Nuggets back in the day. His name was Chris Jackson. He ended up changing his name to Mahmoud Raouf. He sat on the very end of the bench. Coaching change, he averaged 27 points a game.
So you go back to Colorado State?
Yeah.
And then are you playing, is that Division I as well?
Yes. But that's where the second coach stood up and was like, started crying.
Yeah.
And then my teammates started crying because they were like, this guy is done.
They're crying for you.
Yeah. Because we all know how the game works. You know what I mean? We all
Yeah.
know that you got a new this guy asked you to come back here because of something that never happens
And then it
twice.
happens here.
You know what I mean?
But so then were you still on the team for a little?
Yeah.
And they just never put you in the game?
Yeah. He you know what? At the end of my junior year, I think he played me because his job was in jeopardy. So I was like, you know what? We better put this dude in the game
Jesus Christ.
to win a couple extra games down the stretch.
And you were doing well in those games?
Yes. Yes.
And that wasn't enough for them to go like, okay.
No. And then I had the president and the athletic director step in and say, hey, man, do us a favor. If you don't make a scene with the press, for the rest of your life, if you ever need anything, you ever need a job, you ever need anything, we will just avoid this press disaster, which I did. And they kept their promise because at the end of my
Press
senior
disaster
year,
of like, you do what? You'd say, hey, they fucked me over?
I'm getting fucked. Because the press was starting to be like, in the beginning of the season, it's just like any other sport. The press is sitting there, they're watching practice, and they're like, this motherfucker's clearly better than everyone here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone else is like, even in the press guide, everyone had like a normal name. Mine, everyone had like their name. Like it would say like Chris Brown, you know what I mean? Or Jim Jackson or whatever. So in the press guide, instead of putting my name, they put Thunder and Lightning. It was like, there's not much this guy cannot do. But then the press is like, why is this guy not playing? You guys aren't good enough for somebody that can do that.
Yeah.
What's going on? And then, that's when they stepped in and said, don't, let's not do this. Because then there's pressure to get rid of the coach, and contracts. And they were like, if you just, if you'll handle this with class, we'll be there for you until you die.
And what did they do for you?
I mean, on my way out, man, after I was done, like every other day, some Fortune 500 company called and was like, hey, you were referred to us by da-da-da and the president, and we've got a company car, and we can give you $50,000, and we'll give you your own apartment. And he doesn't call us for this, so we're going to push all the chips to them. You can have whatever you want, if you come here. Like every other day I was getting off, but I knew I was going to do comedy and one day be on this podcast.
It was all leading
I'm
to
like,
this.
God damn, you turned out a lot.
No.
Call those guys back right now.
You think I want all that bullshit when I knew I could be on this podcast one day? Are you guys out of your fucking minds? Shit.
When you look back I watch NBA, and I don't even watch the sports a lot, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, to be a basketball player, that looks like the most fun thing in the world. Do you feel mad? Were you ever furious about the lot you were dealt?
Absolutely. You know what? And I don't even know if it was mad. I think that for years and years and years, it was a low rumble pity party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a slow acceptance, I imagine, to being like, oh, that's not the reality in my future. Like,
Yes.
that's not, because to be so sure and have like a clear thing and to have the ability,
Yes.
but then be like, oh, that's not what's going to happen,
Right.
would be, I feel like, really hard to it would be like a sinking in of
Yes.
that for years.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I think it was a low rumble, more pity party. There was some rage in there, but after a while, it's like kind of like poor me that I went through for a long time.
How in your wildest fantasies, how good do you think you could have been?
Good enough to get to the NBA, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know what? That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, because because
Could have been the next LeBron.
no, definitely not. No, some of these guys just have unbelievable talent, but I probably could have hung around in the NBA to make some decent money. I know guys that were definitely not as good as me that played in the NBA for some time.
I know Shaq's into comedy. Have you worked with Shaq?
No.
He does that like comedy night, or he did some comedy taping thing.
Yeah, he was doing, he had a tour of some sort. It's so funny because now Shaq's name keeps coming up with the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, a buddy of mine mentioned that on the podcast, and then I see Shaq in my stories. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're working together on another
yeah.
front here pretty soon.
Well, let's talk about the app. Blap. What's your log line for Blap? What's the quick?
It feels good. Because it feels good, yeah. People say that it feels good supporting black-owned businesses, spending their money, in a way that is
Russell doesn't know what is the app essentially? I know.
The app is an app to find black-owned businesses near you, and then also online. Yes, it's really
Not to boycott them, Russell.
When did you create it?
I created it during the lockdown. You got to do something. I think, sitting around being unemployed.
Had you had experience developing apps before?
Never. Yeah.
Well, one thing I've been, because as I was thinking about your app, because it is to encourage like people who want to, actively help their community, or especially during Black Lives Matter, there was a lot of like, you'll see an Instagram post, like try to go to black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and I was in Harlem where there was like pretty intense gentrification that I didn't know I was a part of until like later in my life.
Yeah.
And then I stayed. It was good rent.
Yes.
But
yes.
How long did you stay after you realized you were a part of it?
It made no difference in my timeline of being there. But I talk about it in the act now, where I was doing one of the marches for Black Lives Matter, and all of a sudden the chant changed. I swear to God, this was true of when we were on my block. The chant changed to "Hey, hey, ho, ho! These gentrifiers have got to go." And I'm marching in it, and I see my window, and I'm like, God damn! I never had a march turn against me while I was in it. It was incredible. It was incredible. And I'm in the march. Like, I have to do the chant with everyone else.
You gotta rock the chant.
I told you about when I was doing one of the marches.
Oh my God.
It was this really funny thing where we're doing the march. It was like through Times Square, and we get to, it's like a long thing, and then we get to people are speaking. And so it's like this big crowd of people are speaking, and the first person gets up, and this woman who I was led to believe is a family member or someone associated with everything going on at the time, and someone starts speaking, and she says, "What we really should be talking about."
And she's black, to be clear.
She's black. What we really should be talking about is black on black crime, and then every white person in the crowd is like, and then there's like some fighting happening about who's going to speak next and what the messaging is going to be. And it was just this moment of every white person there being like, wait, do we stay?
I think,
what do we do? And then there was like, there's like, you're just like, how?
There was so many learning modes. There was, I remember we were chanting, fuck these racist ass police, and we were in Harlem, and then we turned a corner, and all the police officers in this corner were black.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling at them, you racist motherfuckers, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh no, what's the protocol here?
Yeah.
But what was that part of the inspiration of starting this app, or was it something you've just always been thinking in your head?
Bro, it was in the same time you guys. I was out there marching.
Yeah.
You know, I was out there marching, and there's this angry white dude, right? And he keeps checking with me to make sure I'm rocking with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because there's no black people out there. Like there's 2,000 white people. I'm the only black person there, right? I'm not joking. I'm the only black person in this and this white guy's got a drum and everybody.
So many white men with drums.
Yes, the white dude's out there with the drums like, no justice, no peace. The police. And he's got the drum, and then this angry white dude, he was kind of like the rabble rouser. He said, you know what? We're not going to, you know, because they had just arrested the 3 cops that helped to hold down George Floyd. So people go crazy. They just arrested the cops, whatever, George Floyd. Everybody goes ballistic. So I was like, oh my God, great. And all joking aside, I thought that was the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the end of all protesting. Like they got the guy. I thought everybody would go home. And just as they said that, you know, the guy with the drum, he says, hey, it's not over. As a matter of fact, there's another rally on 14th Street. Keep in mind, we're out on Eastern Parkway. There's another rally on 14th Street, Manhattan right now. We're walking over the bridge. And everybody was like, yeah. And then he kind of turned and looked at me like, yeah. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. You're out of your white boy mind. Y'all are taking this dumb shit too far. First of all, it's 85 degrees out here.
Yeah,
I'm not walking over no goddamn. I don't even know them black people. Are you out of your mind? So I'm not joking. So I said, well, you know what? Let me think of something that I could do. You know, there's an old saying in the hood, if you knew better, you'd do better. And I knew that once the yelling and screaming stopped, we're going to be back in the same place.
Sure.
There's just as many black guys getting shot as there was when dying unarmed as there were when. And I know that. I can't tell you how many times I've had guns put to me from the police in my life. It's or stopped. It's incalculable.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what can you do? And I've always believed that one of the biggest problems is financial. You know, you're not going to march your way out of, you know, being a 400-year financial headwind. You know, you're not going to march your way out of that in the summer. So what could I do that would help fucking in terms of finances? So I hit my homegirl up and I was like, hey, I want to create an app. And she was my friend Margot, and she was like, it's going to be very difficult. So long story short, she fucking has dinner guests over. Later on that night, her husband's drunk. It was like, hey, you're not going to believe what my wife is working on. And the guy sitting across the table said, hey, tell your friend I'll do it for free.
Really?
So his wife is like, you must be drunk too. He's a Google engineer. And he was like, no, it'll be my contribution. His wife is black. His kids are black. He was like, no, it'll be my contribution to the movie. Tell him I'll do it, and I'll do it for free. We're going to try something different with Google technology that's never been done before. So then I get to talk to him, and I was like, hey, man, the idea I had was what everyone else had done before, which was like going to the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce and finding these businesses and then putting them on a map, which is kind of what we had seen, these lists.
Yeah.
It was going to be something like that. Yeah. He said, nah, man, I want to do something different. I said, well, listen, man, I don't want to be gambling here. How much is it going to cost me to do what I want to do? And he said, around $50,000, $60,000. I said, how much is your way? He said, I'll do it for free. Let's try your way.
Yep.
I said, you know what?
You know what?
Let's try your way. Yeah, let's see how that let's see how that goes. And then he sent me the prototype, man, and I sent it to some guys that I really trust, some of my business partners now, and they were like, this is way better than anything we ever imagined. This guy figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, tell him fucking thank you, and then you got to make changes. You got to send it to a development company to make it look better, whatever.
Were you starting in New York? It was going to be like New York companies first?
I was going to start with a couple of cities, but when he sent it to me, I called my because you're catching up with people, right? So, or when you're locked down, you're calling people you haven't talked to in ages. So my college girlfriend is in Eugene, Oregon. I had another friend at the time who was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and then I called a friend of mine in Houston. I sent them what he sent me, and all of them hit me back and said, this is about 96% accurate of my neighborhood. Whatever this guy did, it worked. So if it's working in Eugene, Cedar Rapids, Houston, Denver,
so you say these companies
New York,
didn't opt in. It's not the companies didn't reach out and say, hey, we're black. Put us in the registry, please. It was the Google was able to figure it out.
Google's
based on
able to figure
the
out
code.
based on
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can companies opt in, or is it
Well,
all?
now, I mean, the app is so fucking sleek now. We have an add a business feature, you know what I mean? So now there's it's you can do what you need to do on there now.
And ultimately, so the goal is just to like for people who want to support the Black community.
Yes.
And I was thinking about it where my girlfriend Tova used to be in an Orthodox community. She was Chabad, and her sister's still kosher. So I've been learning more about kosher. And there's like the biblical side of kosher, like you should do this, you shouldn't do this. But it's also like there is the symbol that's on certain candies or whatever it's been approved by the kosher people. And at first I was, the religious stuff, I don't buy it all. I find it very obnoxious. But
Right.
I also realized that the way this functions is it gives the Orthodox Jewish community buying power, capitalism power, because the people who get this little thing and get the approval from the rabbi, they're giving money to the organization, the Jewish. It basically says, look, we can mobilize
Yes.
this Orthodox community, and this is a small community in the grand scheme of America. But they say, look, we put this stamp on the fucking food. Those sales are going to go up. So politicians, this, that, the other, you need to accommodate us a little bit more.
Right. And the sad part about it is there is no community that came to America that didn't do that.
Yeah.
Italians had to do that. The Chinese had to do that when they got here. You know what I mean? You had to spend that money. It had to circulate. Black people had to do that. Now, once black people started doing it, that's when you had what's known as the Klan. Like, people think the Ku Klux Klan was to bother, like, people who were, black people who were struggling. No, the Klan was to burn down uppity niggers. The black people who were doing good.
Yeah.
Your law firm's doing good? Oh, no. You're not going to get ahead of us. We'll burn it down. Tulsa, those people who were doing great in Tulsa, these people weren't struck. That dollar was circulating too long. They took it away. Gavin, the mayor or the governor of California, just gave those black people their beach back. They had bought it for $1,500. Now it's worth $20 million. But all those years, they didn't take the beach away because it was doing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't redline black people into neighborhoods all the way up until the 70s because they were doing bad. It was black people who had money to get out.
Sure.
They could move into the Trump building when they put C on the applications, which meant colored. And the Justice Department kicked in the door on him and his father for not letting black people move into buildings that they could afford. So the wealth over centuries and centuries, that headwind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually leads to, what you hear on Fox News. Well, look at Chicago. Well, you kept these people in this fucking tiny little area, some who could have afforded to get out.
Yeah.
And then the kids that were living there would have been like, well, Jim and them's family got a house. Well, they bought a beach, or they bought, or they got this, or they got that. We weren't able to get this, weren't able to get that. And when we did, burned it down.
Took it away anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, or came up with some legal reason why you couldn't do business.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you know better, if you knew better, you do better. And I was an econ major with an emphasis in poverty in college. So I studied how marginalized groups become not marginalized, and whether that be a little kosher sticker or the hookah places that the Chinese migrants, when they were building the railroads, would get together and smoke and spend money with each other. And that's where the Chinese restaurant, that's where Chinatown came from. And everybody had that.
Yeah.
Our Tulsa got burned down.
Sure.
And there were thousands of Tulsas that got burned down. The people that got lynched, got hung, took their property, took their money. So we've been living that way here for centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would be having these conversations with a lot of my white counterparts, and they, just like you're marching down the street and they say, fuck it, we got to get these gentrifiers out of here. And you're like, hey man, I understand that it's fucked up for you, but what do you want me to do?
Sure. I was just a 19-year-old college kid, and my friend was like, we found this 3-bedroom place that's affordable.
Yes. What do you want me to do about that?
Well, yeah.
And so the conversation I was having with my white friends after I got the prototype, they were like, a lot of my friends were like, oh shit, dude, finally, here's something I can do. I don't have to sit around and feel bad. I can go on Blap and order lunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next time I'm gonna order some flowers or some cupcakes or some wine. You know what? I could do that. I'm gonna order this book. Might as well order it on Blap. At least I can do something.
Yeah.
We can't march every day. You're gonna order lunch sometime this week. You could say, you know what? My boy put this app together. Say, you know what, man? I'll just.
And they could have told me, you could have told me, say, hey, you need to move out. I'd be like, bro, I'm not moving out.
Right.
But if you said to me, like, all right, here you go, get your lunch from here.
Yes.
I'd be like, oh, okay, I can do
can
that.
do that.
Sometimes you got to give people, the little thing that could help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because a lot of my white friends are like, yeah, what do you want me to do about it? If I were you, I wouldn't move either. But if somebody said, hey, man, what could you, I wouldn't. Get the fuck out of here.
Of course.
I wouldn't even march over a bridge. So come on with that bullshit.
I bought a drum for that,
Yeah. But I mean, you know what I mean? If somebody said, hey, John, man, there's this, you could order, you could order lunch, or you could, you know what, if you're going to order a bottle of wine, look up one of these black-owned liquor stores on here. You're going to buy wine for somebody's birthday party. Get it on Black.
Yeah.
Or flowers. You're going to order flowers for Mother's Day. We don't give a fuck where we order the flowers from.
Yeah.
Or for somebody, okay, you know what? I could do that on Black. Like, there's something you can do, you know what I mean, without us yelling and screaming at one another. Or shrugging our shoulders like, what do you want me to do?
And how the app's going well? You feel good?
Oh, we crossed 40,000 downloads yesterday.
Wow.
Incredible.
Crossed 40,000 downloads
But you did
yesterday.
open saying coders are thieves? Is that what you said?
Oh, yes.
Thieves. I told you, Russell.
Thank
Then
you.
we'd get
I
back to
forgot.
So first, how big is the company now?
I mean, there's probably 6 or 7 of us working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 or 7 of us working on it. I'm going to expand here pretty soon. I'm always looking for investors, and I think I've found some good people to come in the fall, so that I'll start hiring some coders who aren't thieves.
So what happened?
Oh, my God. Yo, these motherfuckers. You're paying them, man, some exorbitant amounts of money, man. It cost me a couple G's a week.
Sure.
Yeah, for some new changes that I made, because Blap 2.0 probably be out by this time next week. So you'll be
And
able
that just means it'll be in the App Store. It'll be an upgrade or
it'll be an upgrade.
Yeah.
Because as it stands right now, you can go on there and look for businesses. This time next week, everyone will be able to put their own profile on there. Businesses you recommend. So instead of you randomly going on Blap,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You can follow.
Yes.
My friend is. Blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. Yeah, cool.
Let me
cool,
see
cool.
what my friend likes in Harlem.
Yes.
Let me
Sure.
see. I was on my way. I did
that's
the
smart.
cellar in Vegas a
Yeah.
month ago. I'm out in Vegas. But instead of me just going to some random place on Blap in Vegas, I would have looked up my friend who's a comedian out there. His name's Chris Clark, Nikki Carr. I would have went on their pages, saw what they recommended, and I'd have ate there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what I'd have done. So that'll be on there next week. But yeah, man, these fucking people, man, and you're so close to being finished with whatever, and then they just drag their feet, and you're paying them by the hour, like $100-something an hour. And
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? You're gonna fire
It's
them?
like when you drop a car off, you're like, and they're like, well, we got to fix this. It's going to cost $500. That's going to take
Yeah.
a couple weeks. And you're like, I don't know if you're lying to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like fucking when we're at work and there's a goddamn unruly table that you want to throw the fuck out, but it's like there's only 7 minutes left in the show. You just got to let them sit there and you got to
Yeah.
take it. Oh, that's what these fucking people are like. I'm almost done with all the shit they need to do. And they're like, oh, well, I'm having a little problem. 2 weeks, bro. 2 weeks at fucking $4,000 a week. Ouch.
Oh.
You son of a bitch.
Now, do you think, do you know the percentage of your downloaders who are black versus not black? Like, do you think it's like white people trying to like do good, be allies, or do you think it's more black people like trying to support the black community?
I think the breakdown would probably be 60% black, 40% young white women. Yeah.
Wow.
There's no white guys.
Really?
None.
I'll download it eventually. I'm sorry, man.
There are the
Done-
percentage of
downloading
white
right now.
guys on there is almost zero.
What do you think that is psychologically?
I think that white guys have had it so good that they don't get it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And, even like the negative comments on the App Store, it's some white guy. Hey, I don't see what the point of this is. This is racist. What if there was an app that was mostly white-owned businesses? Like,
Wow.
You mean like Yelp? What are you talking
Sure.
about? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
come on, bruh. So, yeah, I think that, you've never seen like that march that we all participate. You've never seen white guys march for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time there's a march, we're out there marching so we can get the same thing white guys got. That's what every march is. Hey, can we have what the white guys have?
Well, if it's a large majority of white guys marching, it's gonna be an insurrection, or it's gonna be something
Unless
bad.
you see, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
They will be funny if they found like they're just all white guys at the end of the day. Your march, the Charlottesville march, it's like, oh, they look the same.
Yeah. And the Charlottesville march was basically, you're not going to let them get what we have, are you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what white guy marches are. White guy marches, you're not going to let these motherfuckers.
At least they said Jews will not replace us, so I was like, good, not my people. Like, they made me on the outside great.
Yeah.
I also, there's something about marches in New York, after Roe v. Wade got overturned, where sometimes it's like New York, especially when it came to abortion rights, I'm like, everyone in New York agrees. There's something about, like, is this a march or is this a parade? Like, if you take this march to Long Island, or Staten Island or Oklahoma, then it becomes a march. But right now, it's just a hang.
Yeah.
It is a good hang.
It is just, we all agree.
It's a pretty good hang.
Like, everyone on the side of the street is like, yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
We agree. Can we, I just need to cross the street, though, please.
Yeah.
Do you think the marches were useful in certain? Sometimes it's so hard to know.
I think that a march is good to highlight a problem, but it's not going to create lasting change.
It's one of these things. I'm like, sometimes I think the only time the marches matter is when it like really causes a ruckus.
Yeah.
Like really does where buildings burn down and hopefully no one's hurt.
Yeah.
But like whenever the politicians are like, please keep it orderly, I'm like, you mean keep it in a way that it won't affect anything is what you're saying.
I've always thought to the sad part about the buildings burning is, to me, that also is, I know this is going to sound crazy coming from a black guy, right? But I think that too it's just not productive. Just like when people were trying to convince us all cops are bad or defund the police, the black guys that I know who come in contact with the police the most thought that was the dumbest thing on earth. Mm-hmm. None of us think all cops are bad, and we are the ones who are terrorized from the time we're 14 by the cops.
Sure.
There's tons of good cops out there. What needs to happen, though, is in the event that you fucking shoot some unarmed guy, most of these guys, it's not their first rodeo, including the guy who killed George Floyd. He had killed someone else.
Yeah.
The accountability is all we're asking for.
Yeah.
That's, well, what about Chicago? Well, motherfucker, if I shoot some nigga in Chicago, I'm going to jail. That doesn't have a gun on him. That's all we're asking for. Send the cop to jail like I would have to go to jail.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking. You don't need to defund the police and all of that insane shit. I think marches are good for highlighting problems. You don't need to send buildings up in flames. I wish while they were marching, they would knock on doors and register voters.
Yeah.
A lot of those doors they're walking past in these neighborhoods are people who are apathetic to voting, including young white women because they're not affected by it. Sign people up to fucking vote. There was a march. That guy really did march to 14th Street.
Yeah.
But can you imagine what they could have done while they were knocking on doors from Eastern Parkway during those hours? Now you get a different situation in Texas, in Georgia, where they needed to flip, which they were able to do. But in a Texas that a lot of people don't know is right there on the border, but the people down there don't vote because they see it as a red state.
I guess there's
then it could do some good instead of burning buildings.
You know that guy with a drum does not have black on his phone right now. You're looking for him every day.
He would though. Yeah. He would. He would definitely download black.
Like, did you get that drum from a black-owned business? Or did you just go to Sam Ash? Yeah, I guess there's just a thing of it's just like you don't see the accountability, and it's like these police unions seem to have so much power that I understand why someone goes, yeah, I'm gonna burn down the fucking. I understand. I guess it makes sense. Sometimes I think the world is so stacked against any kind of change that I'm like, you're begging for people to burn down the building.
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. You're not changing at all.
I'm not saying I don't understand it, but what I'm saying is, that's the definition of insanity. You've done that.
Yeah.
We did that in the 60s. You did that after fucking. What's his name? Can't we all just get along? That got beat up by the cops in L.A. that caused the L.A. riots.
Rodney King.
The Rodney King riots.
Yeah.
We did it when George Floyd got choked. You've burned buildings. Mm-hmm. How'd that work out for you?
Sure.
We're going to keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's literally the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Why don't we try something that is a little more sustainable next time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Let's give that a shot. Let's try knocking on some doors. We know, everyone knows with the data where the people are that don't vote. You know where those neighborhoods are. Why don't we, spend 4 hours a day for a summer knocking on those doors instead of burning down some buildings? I bet you get some sustainable results from that.
Yeah, I wonder if white people just think like the idea of like defund the police or abolish the police, which is a big one.
Abolish the police.
Which in a way it is similar to that, the stereotype of like, oh, I'm going to speak to the manager. It's like, we're getting rid of this. This is not working. We're getting rid of all of it. And like anyone who's dealt with like real life is like, well, that's not going to happen.
And then when you say
unless you're ready for civil war, unless you're ready for a war, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But I do think some people are ready.
I know, it makes me nervous. Well,
me
there's
scared.
political assassinations
All right,
happening
America
across the
collapses.
world.
Where are you going? Number one?
What country?
Yeah,
Probably just Canada. I feel like I'd fit in there.
sure.
Too cold. Bermuda.
Bermuda.
Oh, that's a better.
What is Bermuda for 200, Chuck?
I'm going somewhere comedy. South Korea. They seem to have a good comedy.
Are you serious?
I think I could become the king of the stand-up scene in South Korea.
They got a good mic scene in South Korea.
They do. I saw their first like Netflix special was with like it's called Saturday Night Live South Korea. They didn't change it anything. And I saw his stand-up special and I was like, okay, I could compete.
I love Bermuda, man. It's only 2 hours off the coast.
I've never been. My girlfriend and I are looking for a place to go for December.
You can get there faster than you can get to Miami.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's off the coast of the Carolinas.
But
It's in the water. It's gorgeous. The people are educated. To the exchange rates, dollar for dollar. They're all educated. No crime there. Bermuda.
I'm gonna tell my girlfriend that's a good vacation. Where'd you go for your honeymoon? I forgot.
Bora Bora.
Bora Bora. It's all the same debate. I have no idea where any of these places are.
No idea.
Let's go on to our next segment.
This has gotta stop.
This has got to stop. Other than coders stealing from you. Now, let me ask you, are you using black coders?
Yeah, well, you know what? I have 2 black coders. One of them is Indian, one white guy. He's the guy. He's fucking, he's the thief.
He's dragging his feet.
This guy gives 0 fucks about black. I don't even know what country he's in, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even,
We find him on Fiverr?
No, you know what? My lead developer, she's in London, and she's the best thing since sliced bread. Young black woman, but she is the most talented fucking coder I've ever come in contact with. She was like, I know a guy. And she brings him on. And, at first he was doing good. And he was like, hey, man, how long are we going to be doing this? And when I gave him,
That how he started?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
And then when I fucked up and told him
the end date.
Yeah.
He was like 90% done. He was like, oh yeah, I'll stretch it out till then.
Yes. And that's what's been going on.
You're like, so this is what I need it done by, but he probably would have been done a few weeks ago.
He would have totally been done if I would have said that.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
So other than coder, anything that's got to stop?
Instagram, man, pinching these numbers.
How so?
Instagram is showing our content now to like 1% of our followers. Fucking annoying, dude. And when you first got on that, TikTok has still got tons of reach.
Sure.
Instagram, man, is like sending it to somebody I could have texted to. Like, what the fuck, yo? I could have did a group chat for this bullshit. Like, the fuck is going on, Instagram? They're just creating little group chats. Yeah. I got so many of my friends who are like, dude, I haven't seen your content in years. I forgot you were alive and doing. Like, you know how much shit we put out there?
Yeah.
For them to squeeze it?
I think what's always tough for me is like, I see some comedians who are like, I'm shadow banned. And some of them I'm like, no, are you shadow banned on stage too? Because you're not getting laughs there. You're not getting likes on Instagram. What's going on? And it's more just the fact that the algorithm is, because some people do get shadow banned or whatever happens, but it's all invisible. It's all behind, we don't know how these things are working. They're we don't even know how it works.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to tell. Because I have ups and downs, I was kicked off TikTok. I got back on. All my views were less, and then it was like, well, is it because these jokes aren't as good as the original jokes I was putting out? Who knows?
None of us know.
None of us know.
None of us know.
And that's what's tough.
Yeah.
You had such. I remember I saw you at. I think it was at Gotham, and you were closing at the time. You were closing the show, and you did a kind of speech to get the audience to follow you on Instagram.
Best speech ever.
Man, I saw it. I was like, "Fuck, I gotta start doing
It's
this."
brilliant.
What did you say? You said you met with a streamer, and they were like, "John, you're amazing." But
You
don't have
know
enough-
what? It was a casting director that told me that. Yeah.
So tell.
She said.
So first, John kills. He's killing this. That.
Yeah, and I go in. The audition went unbelievably well, and she was like, "Dude," and it's a true story. I was out in L.A. and she said, "I want to give you the role," but she said, "I'm going to be honest with you. You don't have enough Instagram followers. The producers want someone who has more Instagram followers than you." And she said, "I know it sounds crazy, but she said, I really, my hands are kind of tied." And and I would tell the crowd that, and they would be like, "Oh," but that was a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I didn't get
after
that
he
role.
said that,
Everyone.
everyone would follow him, and
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
it was one of those in the
That's
moment. I
good.
was like, "Oh, I want to steal that."
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I wanna
yeah.
steal that immediately.
Yeah.
You know what? We can't do that where we work now. I would easily have 100,000 followers if I was still out doing regular, you know what I mean, in regular
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade that to work at the Comedy Cellar, but I would easily have over 100,000 followers.
I always thought because I was
Because
at,
my growth stopped the day I walked into the cellar.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, pre-COVID, LOL, where I was still doing all these spots, would have a lot of traffic. Some of these Saturday, Friday night, hundreds of people going in and out. And there's just always a part of me where I'm like, I wish there was a way, let's say you got the tickets on your phone. It's automatically sent to you like, hey, here's the links to their Instagrams. Do you want to follow? It's just like making it as easy as possible. And I'm surprised sometimes people from the cellar, they find my name after they've seen me at a show and find me.
They really have to have gone looking for you, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love if it was
Yeah.
like, I want some people do a piece of paper on the I'm experimenting with all these things, but I wish their email link sent a follow-up email that's like, here's the way to follow the
Yeah.
comedians. Click this and it's done.
You know what's crazy is now that I'm a tech baron,
Yeah.
I just declared myself a baron. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
And the reason I know is because stuff that I thought, was that would take forever, or there's no way that this could be done. I bring it up. My lead developer, a day or two later, she's like, "Okay, we could. How long is that going to take?" Wednesday. This stuff, man. Now is so simple, and especially something that has a location. So meaning that they've checked in.
Mm-hmm.
He's scanning their QR code, every one of them that checks into the cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how they check in with the iPad. Meaning that when that show is over, it would be okay it could easily send that out.
Yeah.
Where they could just follow. Yeah.
It'd be good.
I know.
But the comedy clubs, I understand why the comedy clubs are incentivized for people to love the club, not necessarily individual comedians.
But I think that it would do them good.
Yeah.
Sure.
As our followings grew.
Yeah.
It would, because
Yeah.
then maybe let's say that my following hadn't stopped, and now I've got 100,000 followers, even working at the cellar.
Yeah.
150,000 followers. A lot of those people are going to be coming down to the cellar all the time to try to see me.
Of course.
So imagine if all of our followings grew, it would
Yeah.
only benefit them.
I agree.
That's a conversation to have with them, but it's very doable. I'm shocked at some of the stuff that we've been able to do, and like I said, my developer, she's like, "Oh yeah," but
That'd be nice.
they can get it popping.
Well, let's go on to our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. Russ, you got a blessing
I do,
for
but you
us?
go first because I had one I thought of and now I can't think of it on the spot. But go first, and then I'll
When you
have-
do this, it really throws me off.
I know. Well, when you always ask me first,
Yeah, that's the tradition.
and I was trying to listen before, and then I was all of a sudden had the moment right before you hit the button where I was like, "Fuck! I had a real one today, and now I can't remember."
Oh,
it.
I have a blessing. This is easy for me. Last night, I went to Jay Jordan got married to his partner Garrett, and they had been together for 10 years. Low key wedding. Zach Zimmerman was the only other comic there. It was small. John Borromeo was there, and I got so drunk, and it was so beautiful, and their vows were sweet. And of course, Jay went second. He told Garrison, he's like, trust me, you don't want to follow my vows. And Jay he opened strong. He had a callback to the other vows. And it was just like, it was that perfect blend of, he was clearly a performer, he was clearly a comedian, and he wrote these vows with a comedian's mind, but he also like wrote something so sincere and it made me cry. Oh wow. And it was a beautiful wedding. So to Jay, 2-time guest on the podcast, good friend of mine, congratulations.
Wow.
You're not listening.
Jake Jordan's cool as shit.
Yeah.
I didn't remember what I had, and it bums me out because I thought of a very specific one on the train here, and now I don't remember.
Any other blessing?
But I had it was an amazing weekend where I didn't talk to anyone. Nicole was gone, and I didn't, other than talking to her once a day to be like hi on the phone. I didn't talk. I was a monk. I didn't, like, from Thursday to Sunday, I didn't say a word, and it was really nice. Like I think I lived so long alone that I feel like I crave like downtime, and like it really rejuvenates me and gives me a lot of energy sometimes, and I just don't always get it, maybe, from stuff. And I felt really like I got a lot of energy from just not talking and not being on my phone.
Hopefully your wife leaves you alone a little more often.
No.
And I hope she doesn't listen to this episode.
No.
And I
nothing
hope
to do with
she never hears this episode.
I feel like nothing to do with her. It really,
Every time Nicole's out of town, you're like, I was the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
No. It doesn't have anything to do with her. It feels like this thing where it just feels rare to just not have plans too. I had no plans. I didn't go anywhere.
When you're
at
alone,
night.
do you get naked? Are you a naked guy?
No, not fully. No,
Just underwear?
there's a lot of windows in that apartment.
Sure. I used to be really nude. Now I have like basketball shorts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro,
I just met you and you sounded ecstatic.
I mean, but
I could feel the joy coming off of you.
oh, but it was. I think it's mainly the thing of like, you just always have plans or shows or things, and to not have anything for 3 days and to just like be like.
Do the pets keep you from feeling too lonely? Do the pets like?
No, if anything, I could even do less of them. Like they sleep a lot, like so like, and I took some really nice walks in the woods with the dog, like real like solace.
Dude, I am such an introvert. When we got locked down, people were hitting us up to do podcasts. So I would get our inbox just full. Hey man, I'm a fan, man. I've been following you, John, but I started a podcast because everyone started a podcast, right?
Yeah.
During lockdown. So all these people are hitting you, and you're a total douche if you say you can't do it because you're not doing anything.
Not doing anything,
right?
yeah.
You can't lie and say, "Oh man, I gotta." No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But the first question people would ask is, "Man, you're one of the workingest guys in New York City. This lockdown must be killing you." And I was like, "No, I am totally fine to sit silent. And I don't have any roommates. I don't have any pets. So I know what you mean, man.
Yeah.
It is fucking heaven. I would never say that on a podcast. Or if I had I would never say that out loud if I had a girl. Never. And if I was
it's just
married,
like you're always, it's this thing
We
of like,
get it.
I think I'm realizing I am much more introverted than I ever. I lived, alone for a long time, and I didn't think of myself as an introvert. So I do think I am much more introverted than I ever realized until,
I was watching a George Carlin documentary, and it said that he was an introvert. He liked to be around people, but not interact with them. And I understood that.
Yeah.
I like if people are around, but I don't need to do anything for them, and they're just there.
I don't want to live in like Alaska. Like that would I like living in New York and feeling like there's a lot of people and a lot of potential of interaction.
Dude.
But I
could totally live in Alaska.
Oh, see, I started watching that show Alone this week, and this weekend it's called Alone, and it's like
That's how you were alone, and you're watching a show called Alone.
They get thrown into the woods, and they have to just live there, and they film it. There's no film crew; they film everything themselves. And It looked very awful. Like it looked like once you establish that you can get food and shelter, it's just boring. I mean, it's like a really
Yeah.
boring show. Like, do you know what I mean? And they're just kind of sad all the time because they have no one to talk to or anything. But anyways, so I didn't want that. But
Dude, people ask me all the time, John, man, if you get like really, really rich, man, like tech rich, what are you going to do? Dude, I would buy myself a mega mansion. I'm not a jewelry guy or a jack money off guy. Huge mansion, I'd never leave. I could.
No, that does sound good.
Yes, bowling
sounds
alley,
good.
basketball
There's a swimming
court,
pool.
movie theater,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm such an introvert.
Yeah.
And people think because we're around, because we perform in front of a lot of people, that we like to.
Yeah.
That we're those type of people that they see on stage. Not at all.
Sure.
Not
Sure.
at all. Yeah, I was thrilled listening to you not talk for days. Oh, fucking heaven, dude. Died and gone to heaven.
And do you have a blessing to see us out?
I've got 40,000 blessings, bro. I woke up to 40,000 blessings, man. I mean, you know, for a guy who people were like, dude, you're not going to be able to run a tech company. Oh, man, white people aren't going to download this. Black people aren't going to download. Yeah, 40,000. That's a hell of a blessing, man. And I mean, I do fucking stand up for it. Like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude? Yeah, this is a pretty good life. Your side hustle's going to be worth maybe hundreds of millions of dollars here shortly. Yeah, this isn't a bad go.
For sure.
Yeah.
So where can people find Blap?
You can go on the App Store or the Play Store and download Blap.
Great. And anything else? This is coming out August 2nd. Anything else you want to plug?
No, man. Come check me at the Comedy Cellar. I still have a movie on Amazon Prime called One Bedroom. You guys can always check that out. That's always good. But yeah, download Blap, please.
And your Instagram.
My Instagram, Blap the app for the app is Blap the app, and me, I am at He Was Funny.
And Russell, anything you want to plug?
Instagram at Russell J. Daniels. And when is this? August 2nd? Our show.
Our live show,
plug it
August
again.
14th, the Sesh Comedy Club. It is at 6 p.m.
And then Uncle Function at Dynasty Typewriter September 20th in L.A.
Great. And for me, a lot of stuff coming up. Headlining Stress Factory in New Brunswick tomorrow, August 3rd. Hartford, Connecticut, August 5th and 6th. And then Chicago, August 19th, 20th. And then Tampa, Florida, August 25th through 27th at Side Splitters Comedy Club. And thank you for listening. Tell your friends about this podcast. We are growing. We probably have more video views than listeners, which is
Yeah.
strange. So tell
Which
your
is
friends.
strange.
Tell your friends. But we're blowing up. We're gonna get.
I'd rather them listen than watch, if I'm being honest, because I don't always think about that camera, and
Yeah, we know.
it's not great angle of me sometimes. I have terrible posture.
We'll get lighting someday.
is.
And just remember, support Black-owned businesses, get Blap, and listen to white-hosted podcasts. This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.